I had spent yet another hot day doing some residual shopping and just walking around Milan. Always a pleasant way to spend the day, and in the early evening I was seated outside a bar in the Navigli enjoying an aperitivo. An aperol, as you probably guessed, with the standard but always welcome potato chips and green olives for nibblies. Looking at this view up the Alzaia Naviglio Grande to other outdoor tables, one might easily think an aperol is the only aperitivo people drink in Milan. Later on, as my vlog followers will have surmised by the view of the bus depot on Viale Molise, as well as the peek at the windows behind the white and red parked cars, I was looking forward to dinner at the Trattoria del Nuovo Macello. After greeting Paola, who was absent on my visit the year before, I was shown to my table and got a liquid amuse-bouche to start off with. A glass of what they called an infusion of gazpacho, tomato, watermelon, ginger, lime. That came with the usual wonderful mix of bread, focaccia, and wafer-thin carta da musica. My wine? A bottle of Manzoni, the result of the crossbreeding of Riesling Renano, Rhine Riesling, and Pinot Blanc vines, as you remember from episode 81, episode 6 of this season. This one came from Emilio Sartor, a winemaker in the Colli Asolani in Benigatsu, in the Veneto province of Treviso. It was excellent and a very fitting accompaniment to my fish-based menu selections. We opened with an antipasto of sashimi di ricciola. Ricciola is greater amberjack in English, and an irresistibly delicious fish in any language. Here it was served in the perfect fashion for such hot weather, sitting in a chilled soup made from rhubarb juice, celery, lime, and ginger, with cantaloupe cubes and blueberries. On a summer vacation whose menu saw a parade of truly outstanding antipasti, particularly fish antipasti, this one was among the brightest stars. Followers of my vlog know that the Nuovo Macello does superb risotti, and I have eaten many exceptional different ones there over the years. The one I had this time was called Risotto e erborin, erborin being a Lombard term for prezzemolo, parsley. It was the chef's creative take on the classic Lombard soup, riso e erborin, made with rice and parsley. Now you know the origins of the green color, but the risotto also had other ingredients. The spiral leading from the edge of the bowl to the center was made with cuttlefish ink and lime juice. And the treasure in the center was a mound of diced, raw cuttlefish. This was my third straight risotto primo at Nuovo Macello, and as they're all so good, I refuse to compare or rate them. Staying with fish, I moved on for my secondo to one of the classics of the Veneto, which is eaten slightly less often in Lombardy, bacalà. In this instance, we had a pavé, or a center cross-cut fillet of bacalà, served in bacalà soaking milk with lemons, capers, and mint. The fish rested on a puree of leeks and potatoes and was covered with 2 leaves of roast romaine lettuce. I hope the visuals do the dish justice. It was one of those things you really would like to have lots of times. On recent visits to the Nuovo Macello, I have been the fortunate recipient of an additional second dessert on the house. This year, it was a dessert I had enjoyed on my previous 2 evenings there. Pistachio ice cream bathing in a pool of liquid darkest chocolate, with salted pistachios on top. It may not have been a new item, but it was a repeat I was very happy to have again. The new dessert was more of a specifically summer composition and had more ingredients. There were individual grains of bulgur sprinkled on top, coconut-flavored wafers forming a slanting pyramid to one side, cubes of peach, sweet cherries, and in the center of the plate, supporting the wafers, a cherry sorbet. Very satisfying for the different nuances of sweetness, and also for the unusual texture contrast of the bulgur. The obvious wine to drink with a cherry-focused dessert was a Visciolata from Vicari in the Marche. You know by now that Visciolata is a red dessert wine infused with the syrup of fermented sour cherries. The perfect ending to a dinner at what has developed into a coming-home restaurant for me in Milan.